like to call the March 27th, 2023 meeting of the Jackson Beach Planning Commission to order. May we have roll call, please?
David Dahl.
Here.
Margaret Merwin.
Here.
Colleen White.
Here.
Justin Lerman.
Present.
Nicholas Andrews.
Here.
Justin Henderson.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have any minutes?
Yes. From February 13th.
Do we have any comments or changes for the minutes? Or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. By your action, the minutes are approved. Do we have any correspondence? Do we have any old business?
We do not.
Okay. Before we, okay, actually, I'm going to ask for the planning department to tell us about their position on new business, and then I'll talk a bit about how we run the meeting. So, Mr. Copley, if you would tell us about PC 0623.
All right. This is application PC 0623. It's a conditional use application. The applicant is Lit Libations LLC. The location is 320 9th Avenue North, or 940 3rd Street North. The request is a conditional use application for a retail trade establishment with the sale and service of beer and wine for a property located in the Commercial Limited C1 zoning district pursuant to section 34342 D3 of the Jacksonville Beach Land Development Code. The subject parcel is a small commercial center with several tenant spaces. The property currently has many tenants that are in the personal service or retail business. The proposed use would be a retail establishment that sells candles and candle making experiences with beer and wine sales as well. Based on the applicant's floor plan, it appears that beer and wine sales will be additional services offered beyond this retail sale and classes. The applicant does show that the proposed sale of beer and wine will be in a separate space from the candle making and retail area. Similar uses have been approved in the past, most recently in the shopping center at 301 10th Avenue North, where a beer and wine establishment was approved in conjunction with plant sales and classes. The applicant has provided verification that the property is more than 500 feet from another drinking establishment, school, or church. Adjacent uses to the south are the other commercial tenants in the same shopping center. To the west are multifamily structures. To the south are a drive-through restaurant and service parking area. And to the east, across 3rd Street, are smaller commercial centers and medical supply facilities. The applicant's request should not negatively affect the surrounding property. Based on the application and analysis in the staff report, the Planning and Development Department recommends approval of PC 0623.
Thank you, Mr. Copley. I'll just give you a few sort of points about how we do our business. The Planning Commission bases its decisions on competent, substantial evidence, including testimony provided in this meeting. Any person who is not an applicant or agent that wishes to speak will need to fill out a speaker's card located on the side table by the door and turn them into the clerk. It's our practice that, regardless of the type of issue we are asked to decide upon, each member of the public is given 3 minutes to speak on each item. Please refrain from speaking out from the audience, applauding, groaning, etc., as we try to ensure an atmosphere where everyone listening or in attendance is comfortable. Well, please silence your cell phones. Does any board member have any ex parte communication to disclose?
Nope.
Hearing none. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in and give any presentation you care to?
Please raise your right hand. State your name and address.
Sarah Leitzinger, 3037 Cove Drive, Jacksonville, Florida, 32224.
Chris Pomposo. Same address.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God?
Yes.
What would you like us to know?
What would you guys like to know? I mean, I could go on and on because this is kind of a passion project for us, but I'm not going to. It was two concepts that we've been to, and we've been to a lot over the past couple of years, and we decided to marry them. We looked for lots of locations around the city, settled on the beach because of the community, the traffic here, the locals. It's not just tourists, it is a community, and we thought it would be something fun. All the people that we've spoken to, it can be anything from businesses coming in, from business, I guess you would say, establishments, so like organizations coming in for activities. We see it as a space where people could come with their children, obviously not for, the children can't have the beer and wine. We'll have kombucha and cold brew on tap as well for people that don't drink alcoholic beverages. Bunko groups we've heard are a couple that want to come to our establishment. Bingo nights, trivia nights, that kind of thing. So it's something fun that everybody can come to, learn how to make it, and then it's not just one thing. You continue to come back and have fun and learn more.
Do we have any questions for the applicant? Hearing none, I will now open the public hearing. Do we have any speaker cards, Madam Vice Chair?
No, there's two people here, and they're both applicants.
And I see no one in the audience that has not filled out a speaker card. So I will now close the public hearing and bring the item back to the board for discussion. And I did want to just, kind of expand on what we've done before, in that some of you attended the training that we had a couple of weeks back. And one of the things that I've never done before is to, when we have a motion, perhaps ask the clerk to repeat it. And I think there are instances where that would be really helpful. So I just wanted to bring to your attention that I'm not aware that we can do that, and you may do that going forward. So that's just kind of a little, a new way of doing things. So do we have any questions of staff? Do we have any other discussion? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
May we have a roll call vote, please?
David Dahl,
Yes.
Colleen White,
Yes.
Justin Lerman,
Yes.
Nicholas Andrews,
Yes.
Margaret Marvin.
Yes. Your application has been approved.
Thank you
very much.
Well, good evening.
I do.
Oh, looks cool.
What's your favorite wax?
The wax is the soy blend that we use.
Yeah, soy, for future, soy makes holes in candles, so if you see pure soy candles, it's gonna, most of the time it's gonna pull out. So
Wait, wait, blend.
we have a blend mix that stays together a little bit more.
Secret.
Yeah.
Favorite scent? Purple pound cake, also a secret.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a really great idea.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
We hope so.
I'll
We
see
hope
you
you
guys
guys
there.
all come.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys.
Do we have a planning department report, Mr. Buckley?
We do. So tomorrow night, council will be sitting down with staff for another workshop on certain elements of the land development code. We're going to be going over the supplemental standards, which is where a lot of the performance-based things related to setbacks, accessory structures, motor vehicle storage, those kind of things are kind of lumped into the supplemental standards fencing. So it's a little bit all over the place, but we're going to go through that, kind of hit on some of the things that we know have been issues that we've heard, particularly things like fencing and boats and RV storage and that kind of stuff. So we are working on whether or not we can broadcast that, because again, the way the room set up is a little bit tricky, but also our consultant may try and zoom in, so we may be able to record that somehow. It's to be determined. At the very least, we'll have an audio recording of it, but I don't think we'll have a live stream. But we'll hopefully know more tomorrow. And then we should be having the next round of open public workshops, I think in May. I'll have to look. Heather just put the dates together, so I'll get those to you guys as soon as they're finalized. So it'll again be, a meeting with you guys and board adjustment, and then we'll have, open to the public. I'm not sure if we're doing business groups again, but, same kind of open format where we'll be This time, the consultant and staff will be bringing back kind of proposed solutions to the problems that were raised, and then getting some feedback on that, and then from there, we'll actually start the drafting of the proposed updates, which will go through a lot of vetting after that. But so this is kind of a good way to gauge the problems that we found and the proposed solutions that we've come up with.
What's the approximate completion date?
We're still shooting for the end of this year. It'll really depend on when we get to the adoption stage, whether council can really get through it in, I think, the 4 or 6 meetings that we have allocated. If not, it'll probably spill into the beginning of next year. But so far, we're still on track. So the other thing, our former member Emily has relocated to Ponte Vedra, so she had to resign from the board because she doesn't reside in the city any longer. So we will miss her, but just wanted to pass that along to you guys.
Oh, it's
So-
filling it?
They will be, yeah. They'll be going to council, I think, the first meeting in April, second meeting, yeah. So, soon. And I assume that they still have a pool of people to pull from previous rounds of applications, so.
My only other question is, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So I know we make a recommendation to the council, and the council then sometimes hears our recommendation and makes their own decision, and then we get to hear it, but we never do any like full circle where we sort of like learn from their decision, right? So we can supply them the more information that they're looking for. So for instance, the last one that went through was the music. Remember the guy with the, and that one went to council, and that one actually didn't pass, it failed. And I saw it, I watched the recording, I read everything, but then we didn't really like learn, like how next time can we supply them better information, or I guess sort of like full circle it so we have more information. So I don't know, because it just seems like we're, like if we're saying, hey, this is denied, or this is accepted, and then they say, hey, this is denied, it doesn't seem aligned, but like maybe it should be more aligned, and if we just knew, I guess.
We covered a little bit of that in the training.
I missed it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Really what feedback that we've heard from council really is that when you guys provide a recommendation, it's helpful to them to have a lot of specifics. So like when Adventure Landing went through, you guys provided a bunch of conditions and suggestions and things like that. Some of the others that have come through, you guys weren't really able to like reach a consensus on what you wanted, and so you just got kind of a flat recommendation, which doesn't really give them anything to work off of.
I see.
So the more detail you can provide, and the more you can tie it to the criteria in the code, that's more helpful for them.
Love it.
But if you guys make a recommendation and it goes through council, and you want some clarity on kind of that discussion, I mean, this is kind of the time of the agenda where you can ask those questions. I'm not usually at all those meetings, but I'm certainly aware of what happened.
Sure.
So, we can workshop that a little bit to kind of give you guys some feedback on what they took from your recommendation. But I think more than anything, providing them with a lot of your thoughts and insights is more helpful to them than just to kind of flatten out.
So when we say yes or no.
Can I be heard on that, just to make sure it's clear? I mean, the details are great, but they really need to be, as Christian said, grounded in the criteria that's applicable to that particular application. And I don't think I was present for the music application that you referred to, but in some of the other ones where there was sort of the opposite decision to what your recommendation was grounded in the criteria. It might have had some detail to it, but those were things that were not really relevant or applicable to the application that was in front of you.
And what's the best way to supply those details? Is it to say no because of X, Y, and Z and let council know, or what does that look like? Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be like telling a kid no, or someone yes.
Yeah.
You know, well, why? Tell them what we as the board thought, or
Right.
that's what we talked about when we had that meeting.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Give a huge description, like why this is not going to work.
But I feel like we don't do that though as a committee. Like
We can.
we should be, right?
We can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, you should be in some way tying into the criteria every time you.
Every time.
Yeah.
And what you hear, either by the testimony or the information that's been made available to you through the staff report or through the application, So those are the things that I think matter most. I think you would be aided by having a discussion to follow your motion, because a lot of time, you know, the motion might be influenced by things that really sort of aren't, it's not readily evident to those of us who are listening. So if you have a motion before the discussion, that tends to help you to start to sort of formalize your thought processes and ground it in the competent and substantial evidence that the chair has indicated would be your standard for your decision. I just think that aids the process. And you're always speaking to the motion. I support the motion for these reasons. It makes it easier for you to grab onto facts that you've either seen in a report, facts you've heard from the testimony. I'm not in support of this motion, or I support the motion to deny, or recommendation to deny for these reasons. Again, and grounding it in that. Those, when you are constantly speaking to the motion, it keeps bringing your thought processes to the center, and then I think there's going to be more clarity for the reasons for your rationale in the process.
I think that makes a lot of sense. My only concern would be if someone makes a motion and then someone seconds it, doesn't go to a vote.
Now, the second is for the purposes of discussion. So in a lot of organizations, what you hear is someone who might not even be in support of the motion to say, I'll second it for the purposes of discussion. So you can second a motion and vote against it, but the second gets you to the discussion. That's the whole purpose of the second. That's why people, you hear, oh, it dies for the lack of a second. You gotta get something in front of these folks, but you only get there with the second. The person who makes the motion traditionally should not speak against the motion, because that's kind of antithetical.
Right.
But, you know, we have a different practice in council. If you look at the council meetings, we use the vice chair as the mover, and usually the most senior person on the council after the vice chair is the person who seconds. So our practice is this sort of formulaic process that doesn't actually fall into the second, doesn't speak against the motion. But technically, that's the rule.
Thank you. It's good information.
That's the way the Board of Adjustment does as well, is they'll make a motion in second and then have a discussion on that. So the motion may fail at that vote, somebody may amend that motion. We do a lot of that. And that's one of the reasons when the chair brought up the clerk potentially repeating the motion. When you get through amendments and voting on amendments, it would be good if you could have somebody who's, captured that and can restate it while you guys are actually trying to do all the mental gymnastics for the actual vote. So it's good practice, I think. I agree with the attorney on that. And the music one, I don't know what application that was.
The one next to the church with you want to make an Airbnb on the second floor.
Oh, yeah, that never went to council. That went to the Board of Adjustment for variance, and they didn't get the variance for the parking.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I was confused.
And you guys actually were the deciding factor on that, because it was a conditional use, so. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Copley. This is where we would extend the courtesy of floor visitors if we have any. If there's nothing else,
We don't do that anymore. See, this is what, when we had that meeting, these are the adopted rules of procedure, and our attorney explained to us that this has come on these two meetings, and we don't extend the courtesy because it's the planning development report, and then it's an adjournment. Am I wrong?
The courtesy of the floor was something that just kind of popped up.
Just popped up.
I think we adjusted the software. Is that?
Not yet, because I've been on vacation since that meeting, so.
Okay.
Hopefully by the next one we'll have it fixed, so.
certainly we can extend it, but agreed, that's the discussion that we had as a tree.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right, and she
absolutely.
said, this is correct, and this is incorrect. So,
So going forward, perhaps that.
Yes, I was in Vermont, I apologize.
Can you restate that? What was just said?
That I think we'll no longer have a courtesy of the floor visitors item on the agenda. Was that everybody's understanding?
Yes.
You're all familiar?
Get out.
Courtesy.
Yes, that's right.
We adjourn.
That's what we
Again.
Okay, so just one more thing, and so is there a procedure that needs to be amended to allow that to happen? Or is it-
No, because that is your adopted rules. If you wanted to put in courtesy of the floor, we would have to amend your rules,
Yeah,
so.
no, we were just being road.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your service, and I now adjourn.